Hi, welcome to this week's worship tip. I want to talk to you about the importance of prioritizing the presence of God. Early on, I had an experience where the Holy Spirit really emphasized to me how important it is to keep the presence of God priority. I went to this one church, and they were the top of the line, big church with all of the best equipment, lighting, the video, professional musicians. I mean, musically, it was spectacular. It was well done. It was professional. But sadly, the presence of God was lacking. I left that day really sad. And then a couple of months later, I found myself in the province of the Philippines, outdoor church, and there was this worship team comprised of a guy who played a guitar, and that guitar was beat up. It was weathered, slightly out of tune. And then the drummer who played plastic paint cans and trash cans, and that was his drum set. Well, when they played and led worship, the power of God just came down on us. It blew me away. And in that moment, the Holy Spirit brought to mind my experience at this big mega church where everything was perfect and top of the line and professional, but it lacked the presence of God. And now here I am in a very primitive location with what we wouldn't even consider instruments. And yet when they led worship, the presence of God showed up in such a powerful way. I was struck by it. And I learned an important lesson. It's not about how great of equipment you have or the quality even of your sound or your lighting. It's about the presence of God. And I don't want us to get sidetracked by trying to have the best lighting, the best performance, the latest video, the best sound equipment. I mean, if you can have that stuff, great. That's awesome. There's nothing wrong with it, but it cannot take the place of the presence of God. Our responsibility as ministers of worship is to lead people into the presence of God. That's our privilege. It's our priority. And so we don't want to look at our situation and say, oh man, if only my instrument was better, or if only we had this in our church, then God would move. No, He is not constrained by what you think you need or don't have. When you give Him what you have, like the boy with the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, He multiplies it. I've seen it happen again and again. So you bring God your best. Pursue His presence. Make it a priority. And remember this, you cannot take someone to a place you have not been yourself. So as ministers of worship, the presence of God needs to be our daily pursuit. We need to learn to live and abide in the presence of God so that when we begin to minister and worship, we're going to take those people right to the presence of God because we know that place. We know what it is to go into the presence of God. So I encourage you, pursue the presence of God. It is your greatest privilege, and it needs to be our priority as ministers of worship.